Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, welcome dear devotees. Once again, this is Hari Parshad Das, and I am continuing my video series on 64 limbs of Krishna Bhakti, Uttama-Bhakti, that is Sadhan Bhakti. So, in the previous video, we have discussed limbs 21 through 30. In this particular video, we will be continuing from limb number 31 onwards, and we will try to cover till limb number 40 as specified by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti-rasamrita-sindhu. But before we begin, we will offer Mangalacharan or auspicious invocations. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminidhi Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prashabhanustate Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So welcome again dear devotees. This is the fifth part of the presentation on 64 limbs of Krishna Bhakti. I am Hari Parshad Das, and once again I would like to thank my brother-in-law Deva Krishna Prabhu for kindly helping me in recording this video, and my god brother Venu Govinda Prabhu, who asked me to record various videos on similar topics. So let's begin with a quote from Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Uvacha. The 64 items of devotional service include all the activities of the body, mind and senses. Thus, the 64 items engage one in devotional service in all respects. This is from the purport to Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 22nd chapter, verse number 129. There are not many things that Srila Prabhupada has said about the totality of 64 items of bhakti. So, this is one of the few quotes that I could find about it. Moving ahead, limb number 31. Srila Rupa Goswami says, Atha Paricharya. So, Srila Rupa Goswami is defining Paricharya, that is offering elaborate worship. Now, the previous limb was Archanam. Archanam was offering preliminary worship, which includes Bhuta Shuddhi, Nyasa, etc. That was discussed in the previous video. Now, Srila Rupa Goswami is speaking about Paricharya, which is offering elaborate worship. Usually this refers to worshipping the Lord in the mood of seeing him as a king. So Srila Rupa Goswami now defines Paricharya by his own verse. Paricharya tu sevopa karnadi parishkriya तथा prakirnakachhatra vaditradyayirupasana. So Srila Rupa Goswami says, Paricharya refers to Seva Upakaranadi Parishkriya. Parishkriya, the cleaning of the various items, Upakaran Adi, of service of the deity. As well as Tatha Prakirnaka, to offer miscellaneous items, Prakirnaka of service, such as Chamara, okay, Chhatra. So Chamara is whisk fan, Chhatra is umbrella, Vaditra is playing drums, etc. Upasana, so worship like this by considering the deity as a king. Now this detail of worshipping the deity as a king has not been directly given in the verse, but it has been specified by Srila Jiva Goswami in his commentary. Let's see Srila Jiva Goswami's commentary. Srila Jiva Goswami says, Paricharya atra ragya iva seva uchyate. So Paricharya here refers to Ragya iva seva, service like a king. Sachadvidha, he says, that service is of two types. What are the two types of service? First he says, Upakaran adi parishkriya. Parishkriya means cleaning, Upakaran adi, the various items of service that are going to be offered to him. So cleansing of those items of worship is the first type of paricharya. Then he says, Chamaradibhir upasana cha iti artha. And then actually using those items in his service, such as chamara or chhatra, chhatra refers to an umbrella, etc. Sometimes vaditra is also included in this list. Vaditra means musical instruments. Iti artha, Jiva Goswami says, this is the meaning of the term paricharya. So this is limb number 31. Moving ahead, Srila Rupa Goswami is now going to give an example of this particular limb, because he has defined it just now in the previous verse. Now he is going to give an example of this specific limb of bhakti, that is paricharya, and he gives an example from Naradiya Purana. He says Yatha Naradiya, as it is specified in the Naradiya Purana. Muhurtam va muhurtardham yastishthe dhari mandire sayati paramam sthanam kimu shushrushane rata. So the Naradiya Purana says, Muhurtam va muhurtardham yastishted. Yastishted, a person who simply stays in a temple of Hari for muhurta, for one muhurta. One muhurta is approximately 48 minutes of time duration. So if a person stays for one muhurta or muhurtardham, or for half a muhurta, that's approximately half an hour. Yastishted Hari Mandire, in a temple of Hari. What happens to him? Sayati paramam sthanam, he attains the highest destination. Kim u, what then to speak of? Those who are shushrushane ratah, those who are engaged in shushrushah, that is direct service of the deity, that is paricharya in the temple. So the term here used in the verse is Sushrushane Rata. Sushrusha is the term used in the verse, but it has been interpreted here as Paricharya. Those who are engaged in rendering Paricharya or elaborate service to the deity by considering the deity as a king. Why has it been done so? Because one of the commentators has said Shushrushane means Paricharyayam. So to engage in Shushrusha means to engage in Paricharya. This is the meaning given by the commentator named Shri Mukunda Goswami. So this is verse number 141 describing the 31st limb of Uttama-Bhakti. There is another example that Srila Rupa Goswami wishes to cite from the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yatha Chaturthe, as it is given in the 4th canto. So 4th canto, 21st chapter, verse number 31. Yatpad sevabhiruchastapasvinam ashesha janmopachitam alam dhiya sadya kshinotyanvahamedhati sati yathapadangushta vinisrita saret. So this verse is in the 4th canto. Yatpad seva abhiruchis. tapasvinam ashesha janma upachitam malam dhiyah sadyah kshinoti. So, with every passing day, anvaham, the term anvaham is given in the third line of the verse. With every passing day, the joyous attraction is seva bhiruchi, that is given in the first line, to serving the feet of the Lord, yat pad, to serving the feet of the Lord, increases exactly, edhati sati, it increases exactly, like yatha padangushta vinisrita asarit, like the flow of the river Ganga that emanates from his feet. Now, what is being described here is that the joy of service, that is paricharya, to the deity of the Lord keeps increasing with every passing day, just as the flow of the river Ganga, which is emanating from the feet of the Lord, keeps increasing with every passing day. So, this increasing joyous attraction destroys in an instance, sadyah kshinoti, instantly destroys. What does it destroy? The contamination, malam, of the intelligence, dhiyah, accumulated over infinite lives. Ashesha janma upachitam, accumulated over infinite lives. Of which individuals? Of those individuals who are burning in this material world, tapasvinam. The term tapasvinam is interpreted as those individuals who are burning in this world, and this interpretation has been given by Sridhar Swami in his commentary to this verse. So, this is 4th canto, 21st chapter, verse number 31, describing the 31st limb of Uttama-Bhakti. Now, paricharya is very elaborate. Worship of the deity is extremely elaborate, and it requires a person to be qualified and initiated into such worship. Therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami is going to conclude his examples on paricharya by composing a verse of his own. Srila Rupa Goswami says, Angani vividhanyeva syuh puja paricharyayo natani likitanyatra granthabahulya bhititah. Srila Rupa Goswami says, Angani vividhanyeva, there are various sublims of puja paricharyayo, of puja, that is archan, which was the previous limb number 30, and paricharyayo, of paricharya. So there are various sublims. As I had said in the very first part of the video presentation, there are some limbs which have sublims in them, and there are some limbs which stand alone by themselves. So this archan and paricharya are examples of limbs which have thousands of sublims inside them. So why doesn't Srila Rupa Goswami not mention all those thousands of sublims here? So he said, Natani likhitani atra. They are not mentioned here in this book, Bhakti-rasamrita-sindhu. Why? Grantha bahulya bhititah. Bhititah, due to the apprehension of bahulya, increasing the volume of the grantha, of the literature, Bhakti-rasamrita-sindhu. So, because Srila Rupa Goswami does not want to go in a completely different direction and start describing the thousands of sublims of archan and paricharya, for this reason Srila Rupa Goswami is now pausing the discussion on paricharya by saying that there are thousands of sublims for paricharya, and I don't want to increase the size of the book, and for this reason I am not mentioning them here. So if somebody wants to know in detail about paricharya, so there are various literatures which describe paricharya in great detail. For example, in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, there is the literature named Hari Bhakti Vilas. In Hari Bhakti Vilas, 4th and 5th chapters, paricharya has been discussed and archanam has been discussed in great detail. Similarly, there are books in other sampradayas. For example, in the Nimbarka Sampradaya, there is a literature popular which has been composed by the great devotee of the Lord, Sri Keshava Kashmiri, and Sri Keshava Bhatt or Sri Keshava Kashmiri has also composed his Smriti literature in the Nimbarka Sampradaya, and they also have another literature named Swadharmamrita-sindhu, which is a compilation of various smritis pertaining to the deity worship process in the Nimbarka Sampradaya. So, various pramanas from Sri Keshava Kashmiri's book have been accepted by the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas such as Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami in his Hari Bhakti Vilas. So, moving ahead, now comes limb number 32, and limb number 32 is Atha Geetam. Geetam refers to singing for the Lord. Srila Rupa Goswami says, Yatha Lainge, as it is said in the Linga Puran. Now I tried to trace this quotation in the Linga Puran, and I found this quotation in the Uttarakhand, the latter half of Linga Puran, 3rd chapter, verse number 110. So this quotation is present in the Linga Puran. Brahmano vasudevakhyam gayamano nishamparam hare salokyam apnoti rudraganadhikam bhavet. Srila Rupa Goswami is quoting a verse from the Linga Puran which says, Brahmano, a Brahmana, Vasudeva Akhyam, who sings the glories, Gayamana, whose glories? Vasudeva Akhyam, of Lord Vasudeva. What does he attain? Harehe Salokyam Apnoti. He attains the planet of Lord Hari, but he should constantly sing it. Anisham. He should constantly sing such glories. Param attains the topmost abode of Lord Hari. And Rudra Ganadhikam Bhavet. And the result of his singing is greater than the result of singing the glories of Lord Rudra, that is Lord Shiva. So this is a praman which Srila Rupa Goswami has taken from the Linga Puran and included it in order to glorify the process of Geetam or singing for the Lord. Now there is an interesting commentary here by Srila Jiva Goswami. Srila Jiva Goswami says about the terms Brahmano Gayamano, because the verse said that a Brahmana who is singing for the Lord. Srila Jiva Goswami says, Gana Samanyasya Brahmane Nishiddhatvat. Singing in general is forbidden for a Brahmana. Singing in general is not allowed for a Brahmana. So if singing in general is not allowed for a Brahmana, how can this verse say that when a Brahmana sings for the Lord? So Srila Jiva Goswami says, Brahmano api iti artha. So the verse should be interpreted as even if a Brahmana sings, which means ordinarily a Brahmana is not supposed to sing anything. The Brahmana is supposed to engage in study of the Vedas and not sing mundane songs. A Brahmana is supposed to engage in 6 activities, Pathan, Pathan, Yajan, Yajan, etc. But is not allowed to sing mundane songs. But if it is a song pertaining to the glorification of Lord Vasudeva, then Brahmano api, even a Brahmana can sing and attain the highest destination. Iti artha, this is the meaning. Then he explains the term Rudra Gana Adhikam Bhavet. He says Rudra Kartrika Ganad api Bhagavad Agre Tasya Ganam Adhikam Bhavet ityartha. Rudra Kartrika Ganad, if a song is dedicated to Lord Rudra, Lord Shiva, and so many individuals who are singing beautiful songs pertaining to Lord Shiva, but this song of Vasudeva, api Bhagavad Agre, if it is sung in front of Lord Vasudeva, of the deity of the Lord, Tasya Ganam Adhikam Bhavet. So this song of pertaining to Lord Vasudeva gives a much higher result. Iti Artha. This is the meaning. So this is Srila Jiva Goswami. Another commentator, Sri Mukunda Goswami, also sheds some deeper light. He says, Brahmana itti anena, Brahmana ganasya nishedhastu. So he is also highlighting the term Brahmano Gayamano, a Brahmana is singing. He says, Brahmana ganasya nishedhastu. Now this restriction on the singing of a Brahmana, Bhagavato anya gana parha iti suchitam. This restriction is applicable to songs which are not related to the Lord. So songs other than the songs meant for the Lord. For example, there is Geet Govindam. These are songs which are directly related to the glorification of the Lord. But other songs which are not related to the glorification of Lord Krishna, those songs should not be sung by a Brahmana. Now this may come as a surprise to some of us as to why a Brahmana is not allowed to sing, and where exactly is the restriction for a Brahmana which says that they are not allowed to engage in singing. So this is not a part of the commentary, but this is something that I researched and found out that in the Manusmriti there is a clear instruction given in the 4th chapter, 64th verse. Na nrityed athava gayen navaditrani vadayet. So na nrityed, the Brahmana should not dance, athava gayen, should not sing, navaditrani vadayet, and should not play musical instruments. So it's a very clear instruction given in the Manusmriti for the Brahmanas. Having said this, we can understand why Srila Jiva Goswami and Sri Mukunda Goswami were mentioning that the Brahmanas are generally not allowed to sing anything. But that restriction applies to singing mundane songs, not singing devotional songs. Now moving ahead into limb number 33. Limb number 33 says Atha Sankirtanam. Now Sankirtan, congregational chanting, loud congregational chanting. Srila Rupa Goswami first defines Sankirtan. Nama Leela Gunadinam Uchchair Bhasha Tu Kirtanam. So Srila Rupa Goswami says Uchchair Bhasha, loud chanting of Nama, Leela, Guna, etc. So name, pastimes, qualities, etc. of the Lord is known as Kirtanam. This is known as Kirtan or Sankirtan. So this is in Bhakti-rasamrita-sindhu 1.2.145. Srila Rupa Goswami has given Nama Kirtan, Leela Kirtan, Guna Kirtan, Adi, etc. and other Kirtans, Charitra Kirtan and so on. So mainly three: Nama Kirtan, Leela Kirtan, Guna Kirtan. Srila Rupa Goswami says Tatra Nama Kirtan. So first he says I will deal with Nama Kirtan. Yatha Vishnu Dharme, as it is given in the Vishnu Dharma Purana. Krishneti Mangalam Nama Yasya Vachi Pravartate Bhasmi Bhavanti Rajendra Mahapataka Kotayah. So it's a very simple verse. It says Krishneti Mangalam Nama. So if the auspicious name Krishna, Mangalam Nama, Yasya Vachi Pravartate, if it resides on somebody's tongue. Bhasmi Bhavanti Rajendra, so something is burnt to ashes. What is burnt to ashes? Mahapataka Kotayah. So heinous sins, millions of heinous sins, Mahapataka, Kotayah, millions of heinous sins are immediately burnt to ashes. So the translation is, O king, millions of heinous sins are burnt to ashes for a person on whose tongue the auspicious name of Krishna resides. So this is a pramana for Nama Kirtan from the Vishnu Dharmottara Purana. Commenting on this, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says about the phrase Krishneti Mangalam Nama, auspicious name of Krishna. He says Krishneti Pradhanyena Uktam. So Krishna iti Pradhanyena Uktam. So in this verse is speaking specifically about the importance or Pradhanya, the primary importance of Nama Kirtan. Okay. Namantara Kirtanam api gyayam. So one should understand that besides the name also there are other types of kirtan. For example, Guna Kirtan, Leela Kirtan, those also should be understood to be applicable in this verse. So when the verse says Krishneti Mangalam Nama, only the name, a person should not take the exact very strict literal interpretation and says only Nama Kirtan. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says Namantara Kirtanam api. other kirtans besides Nama Kirtan such as Guna Kirtan, Leela Kirtan, Apigeyam should also be understood to be included here. Evam Anyatrapi. Similarly, in other types of kirtans, for example, when Guna Kirtan is being described, so the glories of Guna Kirtan also apply to Nama Kirtan. So both ways are applicable. This is what is being explained in the commentary here. Now, Srila Rupa Goswami says Leela Kirtanam. So, Leela Kirtanam refers to the singing of the pastimes of the Lord. Yatha Saptame, as it is said in the 7th canto. 7th canto, 9th chapter, verse number 18. So, this verse is in the meter Vasant Tilakam. Soham priyasya suhrida paradevataya लीला कथास्तव नृसिंह विरिंच गीता अंजस्तितर्म्यनुगृणन् गुण विप्रमुक्तो दुर्गाणि ते पदयुगालय हंस संग. This verse is saying, by Prahlad Maharaj is saying, Soham priyasya suhridah paradevataya लीला कथास्तव नृसिंह विरिंच गीता. O Nrisimha, Tava Leela Kathas, I am going to sing your Leela Kirtan. So the translation given by Srila Prabhupada is as follows. O my Lord Nrisimhadev, by engaging in your transcendental loving service in the association of devotees who are liberated souls, Hamsas, that is given in the last line, Pada Yugalaya Hamsa Sangha, I shall become completely uncontaminated by the association of the three modes of material nature. This is given in the third line, Anugradan Guna Vipramukto, and be able to chant the glories of your Lordship, this Anugradan, who are so dear to me, Priyasya, Suhrida. I shall chant your glories following exactly in the footsteps of Lord Brahma, Virincha Gita, and his disciplic succession. In this way, I shall undoubtedly be able to cross Anjastitarmi, the ocean of nations. So, Durganite, I will be able to cross over the ocean of nations simply by chanting your Leela Kirtan. This verse is given in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Rupa Goswami is quoting this verse as a praman for proving the efficacy of Leela Kirtan. Moving ahead, the third sublimb of Kirtan was Guna Kirtanam Yatha Prathame. So, Guna Kirtan means glorifying the qualities of the Lord. Yatha Prathame, as it is given in the 1st canto. Idam hi pumsas tapasa ishrutasya va svishtasya suktasya cha buddhi dattayo avichutortha kavibhir nirupito yaduttamah shloka gunanuvarnanam. So, idam hi pumsa tapasa shrutasya va, for all the purpose of all the austerities, Shrutasya, of all the learnings of the Vedas, Svishtasya, of chanting hymns, Vedic sacrifice, Suktasya, of chanting hymns, Buddhi Dattayoh, and of all charity, it culminates in what? Avichutorthaha kavibhir nirupito. The learned circles have positively concluded that it should culminate in what? Uttama Shloka Gunanu Varnanam, the transcendental descriptions of the Lord who is Uttama Shlokus, glorified in choice poetry. So this is the verse which says that all the advancement that a society has achieved in terms of what? In terms of advancement of knowledge, austerity, study of the Vedas, of all sacrifices, the progress that any society has attained is to be measured by how well they can glorify Lord Uttama Shloka, that is Lord Krishna, who is supposed to be glorified in the choicest of all verses. So this is Guna Kirtanam. Moving ahead to the next limb, Srila Rupa Goswami describes Japaha. So Japaha is chanting on beads, or Japaha refers to chanting the various Gayatri mantras that have been handed over to the disciple through the Guru Parampara. Atha Japaha. Now Japa, personal chanting. Srila Rupa Goswami first specifies what is Japa. Mantrasya sulaghucharo japa ityabhidhiyate. Japa is mantrasya sulaghu uchchara, super soft utterance. Sulaghu uchchara, super soft utterance of mantra. This is what is japa. Japa iti abhidhiyate. This is what is known as japa. So japa, sometimes some individuals are thinking japa means I have to chant it very loudly. Traditionally, Srila Rupa Goswami has specified very clearly sulaghu uchchara. Sulaghu uchchara means japa has to be performed in a super soft manner. Japa is of three kinds. First is known as manasik japa. Manasik japa is wherein one is chanting within the mind. One does not make any sound at all. Usually such japa is performed while chanting one's Gayatri mantras. So manasik japa. Then second is known as upamshu japa. Upamshu is super soft utterance, and upamshu means that only one should be able to hear through one's own ears, and the voice or the utterance of the japa should not reach anybody else's ears. That is called as upamshu japa. And third is known as vachika japa, wherein a person chants so that others can also hear. But it is never loud, because as soon as it becomes loud, it becomes kirtan. In order to maintain the distinction between japa and kirtan, it is very much needed to understand that japa never goes beyond a certain volume. So this is japa. Ideal japa is upamshu, chanting in a super soft tone so that only one can hear oneself. This is upamshu japa. Srila Rupa Goswami gives an example from the Puranas for proving the efficacy of japa as one of the limbs of bhakti. Yatha padme, as it is specified in the Padma Purana, as follows. Krishnaya nama ityesha mantrah sarvarth sadhakah bhaktanam japatam bhupa swarga moksha phalapradah. Bhupa, O king, Krishnaya nama ityesha. The mantra Krishnaya nama. So some devotee is chanting a mantra Krishnaya nama, is capable of achieving all aims of life. So sarvartha sadhakah. For devotees who chant it, bhaktanam japatam, what happens? The mantra bestows phalapradaha, the fruits of swarga moksha, of heaven as well as liberation. So for those devotees who are chanting Krishna mantras, the mantra is capable of bestowing all fruits upon the devotee who is chanting the mantra, including the fruits of heavenly planets and liberation. Moving ahead, Srila Rupa Goswami goes ahead and describes the 35th limb of Uttama-Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti. He says, Atha Vigyaptihi. Now, Vigyapti. Vigyapti refers to offering of personal heartfelt prayers to the Lord, personal compositions, outpourings of the heart to the Lord. So this is called as Vigyapti. Yatha Skande, as it is mentioned in the Skanda Purana. Harim uddishya yat kinchid kritam vigyapanam gira mokshadvarargalan mokshas tenaiva vihitastava. Whatever prayer has been offered to Hari, yat kinchit harim uddeshya vigyapanam, through your speech, kritam gira, has ensured that the bolt on the door of your liberation, dvarargalan, moksha dvarargalan, itself gets liberated, mokshas, tenaiva vihitastava. So by speaking personal heartfelt prayers to the Lord, O dear devotee, you have ensured that the bolt on the doors of liberation, which means the doors of liberation are right now closed because there is a strong bolt on it, but by offering these heartfelt prayers, you have ensured that the bolts on the doors of liberation have themselves become liberated, which means that the bolts themselves have opened up and the door is now open. So this is Vigyapti and its glorification from the Skanda Purana. Now Vigyapti is also a limb which has some sublimbs within it. So in the next verse, Srila Rupa Goswami is going to give the three main types of Vigyaptis that are recognized by the previous great authorities. Srila Rupa Goswami composes a verse of his own to describe these three types of Vigyaptis or personal prayers. Samprarthanatmika dainya bodhika lal samayi ityadir vividhadhirai krishne vigyaptiririta. So Srila Rupa Goswami says the various Vigyapti prayers are classified mainly into three types by the sober minded individuals, dhirai, as follows. First, Samprarthanatmika. So Samprarthanatmika is a personal prayer to attain a spiritual goal. So every sadhaka can offer such a prayer, but specifically Samprarthanatmika is a prayer to attain a spiritual goal by a sadhaka or a person who has not attained Bhava Bhakti. So this is the definition of Samprarthanatmika. Second is Dainya Bodhika, a prayer expressing humility. That is Dainya Bodhika. And the third is Lalasamayi. Lalasamayi is a prayer of hankering, Lalasa, to attain a spiritual goal by a person who has attained Bhava Bhakti. So Samprarthanatmika is also a prayer to attain a specific spiritual goal, and Lalasamayi is also a prayer to attain a specific spiritual goal. But the difference between both of them is that Samprarthanatmika is usually spoken by a person who has not attained the platform of Bhava Bhakti, whereas Lalasamayi is uttered by a person who has attained the platform of Bhava Bhakti. So, moving ahead, we will see the commentary that has been given on this verse. Shri Mukunda Goswami clarifies the difference between Samprarthana and Lalsamai, Samprarthanatmika and Lalsamai. So Shri Mukunda Goswami says, Samprarthana man ader Bhagavan Nishthīkarana Prarthana Matram. So what is Samprarthanatmika? Mana ader in relation to the mind, Bhagavan Nishthīkarana Prarthana. So a prayer to fix the mind, etc. on the Lord. A prayer in which there is a desire to fix the mind upon the Lord. This is called as Samprarthanatmika. Basically, such a devotee has not attained Bhava Bhakti yet, because on the attainment of Bhava Bhakti, there is no separate need to pray for fixing the mind on the Lord. The mind is spontaneously fixed on the Lord. Then he says, Lalasa Swa Abhipsita Sevadi Prarthanam. Lalasa or hankering is Swa Abhipsita Sevadi Prarthanam. Prarthanam, praying for Swa Abhipsita Seva, an eternal service that is desired by oneself. So this obviously refers to that stage of bhakti when bhava has been attained by the sadhaka. Now, next is a comment on the same verse by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who says, Samprarthana anutpanna bhavasya. So Samprarthanatmika is usually a prayer by a person who is anutpanna bhava, in whose heart bhava bhakti has not developed. And Lalasa utpanna bhavasya. And Lalsamai is a prayer uttered by a person who is utpanna bhava, which means in whose heart bhava bhakti has developed. Iti bhedo gyayah. This simple difference should be understood. So according to the Acharyas, this difference is crystal clear to all of us. Now, examples for all three types of prayers. Tatra samprarthanatmika yatha padme. Now example of a samprarthanatmika prayer as it is given in the Padma Purana. Yuvatinam yatha yuni यूनां च युवतौ यथा मनोभिरमते तद्वन् मनोभिरमतां त्वयि. So, yuvatinam yatha yuni, just as the minds of young men, young women take interest in young men, and vice versa, just as the minds of young men, yunam cha yuvatau yatha, take pleasure in a young girl, mano abhiramate, as these take pleasure in each other, tadvat, in the same way, mano abhiramatam tvai, kindly let my mind also take pleasure in you, O Krishna, in a similar manner. So this is a samprarthanatmika type of prayer because it is expressing the desire of a sadhak who has not yet attained the platform of Bhava Bhakti and is praying to the Lord for such attainment and such attraction that is found on the platform of Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. Dainya Bodhika, the second type of Vigyapti, which is expression of humility. Yatha tatraiva, as it is mentioned in the same Padma Purana. Mattulyo nasti papatma naparadhi chakaschana parihare pillajjame Kimbruve Purushottama. Purushottama, O Lord Purushottam, O Jagannath. Mattulyo nasti papatma. There is no soul as sinful as me. Na aparadhi chakaschana. There is no offender greater than me. Parihare pi lajjame. Parihar means to remove the sinful reactions or the apradhs. Now whenever I try to remove my apradhs, which I am constantly committing every day, and when I try to remove them by various means such as deity worship or by chanting, when I try to remove them, I feel ashamed. Parihare pi lajjame. Why do I feel ashamed? Because I am using all these other limbs of devotional service simply to remove my sins and offenses. Parihare pi lajjame. I am now ashamed at myself. Kim bruve. What more to say, Purushottama, oh dear Lord Purushottama, what more to say? Nothing else to be said, dear Lord, you kindly understand what is my situation. So this is the mode of the prayer. This is Dainya Bodhika Vigyapti. Moving ahead, Lalsamai. Now the third type, Lalsamai, hankering for a spiritual attainment by a person who is on the stage of Bhava Bhakti. Yatha Shri Narada Pancharatre, as it is given in Shri Narada Pancharatra. Kada gambhiraya vacha shriya yukto jagatpate chamara vyagrahastam mam evam kurviti vakshasi. So, O Lord of the universe, Jagatpate, as it is given in the verse, when will it be, kada, that in the association of Lakshmi Devi, Shriya Yukto, so devotee is asking the Lord, when will I see you in the association of Lakshmi Devi? When will I see both of you? And I will be standing near you with holding a chamar vyagrahastam. So I will be holding a chamar very eagerly to render service to you. And you will instruct me. Iti vakshasi, you will say something to me in a deep voice, gambhiraya vacha. You will say something to me. What will you say? Evam kuru. Now fan me in this way. Don't fan me in that way, fan me in this way. So when will you instruct me, dear Lord, like this? So obviously this is a prayer by somebody who has attained the platform of Bhava Bhakti and has clearly progressed ahead, and his eyes are set on his final spiritual attainments. So this is Lalsamai Vigyaptihi. Another example of Lalsamai, Srila Rupa Goswami says Yathava, or another example. The source of this example is not specified by Srila Rupa Goswami. Kadaham yamuna tire namani tava kirtayan Udbashpah pundarikaksha rachayishyami tandavam. So another example is as follows. Pundarikaksha, O Lord Pundarikaksha, while chanting your holy names, Namani Tava Kirtayan, when shall I dance? Kadaham Rachayishyami Tandavam, when shall I dance in ecstasy? Yamuna Tire, on the banks of Yamuna, and with tears in my eyes, Udbashpaha. So when will it happen that with tears in my eyes I will dance on the banks of the Yamuna? This is a prayer which is categorized under Lalsamai. Now, Srila Jiva Goswami has an important comment to make here. He says, Kadaham Yamuna Tire. Now, this prayer, when will I attain the banks of the Yamuna? And when will I cry tears of ecstasy? Iti duratah, which means the person who is praying is sitting duratah, is sitting far away from the Yamuna. Prarthana kasyachid ajata bhavasya. Seems that this particular prayer is by a person who has not developed bhav. Because if he would have developed bhav, then he would have not prayed for tears in his eyes and dancing, because those symptoms would already be manifest in the stage of bhav. Yataha, Jiva Goswami says, because samprarthana anutpanna bhavasya. So samprarthana is the prayer for a person who has not developed bhava. Lalasa tu jata bhavasya iti bheda. And we know clearly that lalasamai is for a person who is jata bhav, who has developed bhav. So this prayer should be categorized as samprarthana. Why is being classified as lalasamai? So it said, lalasa mayatvat samprarthanapi atra lalasa ityeva iti bhanyate. So lalasa mayatvat, although it is samprarthanatmika, it appears to be samprarthanatmika, but lalasa mayatvat, but the desire which is being expressed here is on the platform of lalasa. It is not simply a desire to get rid of one's anarthas, or not simply a desire of invoking some attraction towards the Lord. The desire is very specific. When on the banks of Yamuna will I cry? So this is a desire tending towards lalasa. Lalasa mayatvat. He says samprarthana api atra lalasa. So therefore samprarthana also becomes lalasa in this case. Iti eva hi bhanyate. Ato lalasamai iyam. So therefore this prayer is lalasamai. That is what Srila Jiva Goswami has said. Even in the daily morning programs, when devotees are singing Tulasi Arti, they are singing that Ei nivedana dharo sakhir anugat karo and seva adhikar diye karo nija dasi. So these are all prayers being sung mainly by individuals who are ajata bhav, who have not attained the stage of bhav. So they should be classified as samprarthana. But lalasa mayatvat, because the mood of the prayer is that of lalasa, therefore these Tulasi Arti prayers will be categorized under lalasamai. Of course, the Tulasi Arti prayers will not fall under Vigyapti in the strict technical sense, because Vigyapti is something which oneself composes through one's spontaneous heart. But still, if one is chanting somebody else's prayers, but one is feeling as if one is speaking it personally, still it may fall into the window of lalasamai prarthana. But mainly, these Vigyaptis are outpourings of the heart. This should be understood. Now, Srila Jiva Goswami says, Atra idrishe samprarthana lalase prastava eva darshite. Now here, the section is sadhana bhakti, bhakti in practice. So if it is bhakti in practice, because so many limbs were described, archanam, deity worship, paying obeisances, which a practitioner can easily do. But now you are saying a practitioner should also start having hopes of attaining eternal perfections. But how can a practitioner have such lofty hopes in the stage of a practitioner? So Jiva Goswami says, Idrishe samprarthana lalase prastavadeva darshite. So just because the subject matter of Vigyapti is going on, So just to show examples for the subject matter, they are being spoken here. Actually, Kintu Raganugayam eva Gyaya. Actually, these verses belong to the Raganuga Bhakti section. But just so as to show some examples here, they have been specified by Srila Rupa Goswami. Although these Lalsamai prayers usually don't come out of the hearts of the Sadhaka Bhaktas. It's very clear commentary by Srila Jiva Goswami. Now moving ahead to the next limb. Atha Stava Patha. Now Stava Path. Now what is Stava Patha? Stava Path is offering selected verses to the Lord. So Rupa Goswami first defines what it is. Prokta Manishibhir Gita Stavarajadaya Stava. Manishibhir, the learned souls say that the verses of the Bhagavad Gita and Stavaraj is a prayer in the Gautamiya Tantra, they are to be known as Stavas, and Adaya, etc. They are selected prayers or Stavas. So this term has been defined. Srila Jiva Goswami says in the commentary, Gitayaha Stavatvam. Why is Gita also counted under Stava? Because Bhagavan Mahimatmakatvat, because the glories of the Lord are elaborately described in the Bhagavad Gita. So Gita is also considered as a Stava. And he says Stavarajo. What is Stavaraj? Is Gautami Yoktah Stavaraja. So there is a specific prayer known as Stavaraj in the Gautamiya Tantra. That is what is being referred to here. So he gives an example now. Yatha Skande. Now glorification of Stava Path or reciting choicest prayers by previous authors. Yatha Skande is glorified in the Skanda Purana. Shri Krishna Stavaratnaughair Yesham Jihva Tvalankrita Namasya Muni Siddhanam Vandaniya Divaukasam. So individuals whose tongues Yesham Jihva are decorated with Alankrita, various stavas, Shri Krishna Stavaratnaughair, various stavas pertaining to Krishna, are namasya, are worthy of receiving obeisances. From whom? Muni Siddhanam, from the sages, Munis as well as Siddhanam, as perfected souls. And Vandaniya, these souls who offer such stavas are Vandaniya, worthy of being glorified by Divaukasam, by the residents of heaven. So this is a verse from the Skanda Purana in glorification of Stava Path. Narasimhecha, and the Narasimha Purana also says, Stotrai stavaischa devagre yastauti madhusudanam sarva papo vinirmukto vishnulokam avapnuyat. So the Narasimha Purana says, a person who glorifies Lord Madhusudana, Yahastauti Madhusudanam, in front of his deity, Devagre, through various stotras and stavas. Stotraih stavaischa. So here two terms are being used, stotras and stavas. Let's note that. Becomes free from all sins, Sarva Papa Vinirmukto, and attains the abode of Vishnu, Vishnu Lokam Avapnuyat. So stotras and stavas both are mentioned here. The commentators clarify the difference. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Devagre, first he highlights the term Devagre in front of the Lord. What does the term Devagre mean? Shrimad Archayah. So in front of the deity, Archa Vigraha. Then he says, Stotra Stavayor Abhedepi. Actually, there is no difference between the terms Stotra and Stava. They are synonyms. Avantara Bhedaha. There is some small internal difference. Purva Prasiddha Swakritattvabhyam Gyayah. Which means that he is saying, Stotra is Purva Prasiddha, written by previous great authors, and Stava is Swakrita, is created by oneself. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says Stotra refers to verses written by previous great authors and Stavas refers to verses written by oneself. But what happens in this is that then Stava becomes synonymous with Vigyapti, because Vigyapti is offering of heartfelt prayers. So there is an overlap that happens here by accepting this commentary. Sri Mukunda Goswami gives another beautiful interpretation which does not cause any overlap with Vigyapti. Sri Mukunda Goswami says, Stotrai Paurushai. So Stotra is Paurusha, are verses created by previous great authorities who were humans. And Stavair Arshai. Stava is composed by previous great Vedic sages who are perfect. They are composers of the Vedas, Itihasas and Puranas. Those composers of the Vedas, Itihasas and Puranas. For example, Sutta Goswami, Vyasadeva, etc. So stavas are by those Arshai, by the rishis who are composers of Vedic literature. Yatha Ekadashi. He also gives a pramana from the 11th canto, Ekadashi Skanda. Stavair Ucchavachai Stotrai Paurushai Prakritairapi. So this is 11:27:45. It says Stavair Ucchavachai. Stava means Ucchavachai, which is big and small compositions. Stotrai Paurushai Prakritairapi. So, and Stotra is Paurushai Prakritairapi. So Stotra refers to Paurusha, created by human beings, Prakritairapi, who may be ordinary human beings. So Stava refers to Ucchavachai Vedic writings, and Stotra refers to writings of human beings but who were great authorities of the past. Now 37th limb. Atha Naivedya Swado Naivedya Aswad. So Naivedya Aswad means tasting the foodstuffs, remnant foodstuffs offered to the Lord, as it is said in Padma Purana. Yatha Padme Naivedyamannam Tulasi Vimishram Visheshatah Pad Jalena Siktam Yoshnati Nityam Purato Murare Prapnoti Yagya Yutakoti Punyam. So it is said in the Padma Purana, he who goes outside the temple, Purato Murarehe. So Purato Murarehe is interpreted as away from Murari, which is outside the temple premises. He who goes outside the temple premises and tastes foodstuffs, Ashnati, offered to the Lord. After these foodstuffs are mixed with Tulsi Vimishram, Naivedyam, after it is mixed with Tulsi leaves, and Visheshatah, lovingly, Pada Jalena Siktam, sprinkled with foot bathing water of the Lord. So sprinkled with the Charanamrita of the Lord and mixed with Tulsi. This Prashad, if somebody tastes while being outside the temple of the Lord, not in front of the Lord. So what happens? Attains the piety, Punyam, of performing thousands of millions of Vedic sacrifices. Yagya Ayuta Koti. So his Prapnoti, he attains. So this is the verse specified by Srila Rupa Goswami from the Padma Purana. Now Srila Jiva Goswami explains the term Purato Murare. He says Murare Puratah iti Lyablope Panchami. So he is citing a grammatical principle. Purato Murare iti Lyablope Panchami. So the term Murare is Panchami, is in the ablative declension. Puram Antah Puram Parityajya iti artha. So he is adding a term Parityajya. So the term Parityajya has ya, lya. So lyap, lope. So this term is removed, Parityajya, and therefore it becomes Purato Murare. But actually the meaning of Purato Murare is Antah Puram Parityajya. So Murare Antah Puram Parityajya iti artha. So after giving up or leaving the Antahapuram, the inner sanctums or the inner premises of the temple of Murari. This is the meaning of Purato Murare. Why is it so? Tad agrato bhojana nishedhat. In front of the Lord, it is not allowed for one to eat. This is Srila Jiva Goswami's commentary on the term Purato Murare. Now, surprisingly, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur takes a different line of approach and says, Murare Purata iti, takes the same term and says, Purvam tu. So what has been explained previously, it should be understood as Bhagavad Agre Tambula Charvanam eva Nishiddham. It means that one should not eat betel nut in front of the Lord. Natu Bhojana Samanyam. It doesn't mean that one cannot eat any general prasad in front of the Lord. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying one can eat prasadam, general prasadam in front of the deity of the Lord, but never to eat tambul. Tambul means to eat betel nut. Because if we remember the seva aparadhs, one of the seva aparadh was to eat betel nut in order to show one's affluence to the deity, or because eating betel nut is a form of showing affluence. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur takes a different interpretation on the term Purato Murare from Srila Jiva Goswami here. It's very interesting because many individuals think that a latter Acharya or a latter devotee cannot take a different interpretation from a former Acharya or a former devotee. And they think immediately that if a latter Acharya has taken a different interpretation from a former Acharya, then there is something wrong or some mistake with the latter person. This is definitely not the case. As long as any interpretation is justified from Shastra, from grammar, from Nyaya and other Vedic literature, as long as it is not proven incorrect from Shastra, till that time another interpretation should also be accepted as valid. And this is not my opinion, because Srila Prabhupada also says there is no reason why Acharyas cannot differ on certain points. So this broadness of interpretation is the highlight of Vedic culture. Vedic culture is not flattened into a single interpretation system, and this broadness or breadth of thought process should be present in any individual who claims to be a Brahmana, because flattening everything into a single interpretation system removes the opportunity for newer interpretations and newer realizations by successive generations of devotees. So this is limb number 37. Limb number 38. Atha padya swado. Now tasting the remnant foot bathing water offered to the Lord, as it is said in the Padma Puran, yatha tatraiva. Na danam na haviryesham swadhyayo na surarchanam te pipadodakam pitva prayanti paramam gatim. So even those individuals, yesham, who have never performed charity, na danam, fire sacrifices, na havir, study of scripture, swadhyaya, or worship of the god, surarchanam, they can also attain the highest destination, prayanti paramam gatim, after drinking the remnant foot bathing waters, padodakam pitva, of the Lord. So this is the 38th limb, Padya Aswado, explained by Srila Rupa Goswami, no commentary. 39th, Atha Dhupa Saurabhyam. So now experience of the aroma of incense offered to the Lord. Yatha Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya. So Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya is a collection of statements from the Puranas. It says, Aghranam yadharer datta dhupochishtasya sarvatah tadbhava vyaladashtanam nasyam karma vishabaham. So the experience of the aroma, aghranam, of incense, dhupochishtasya, offered to the Lord, harer datta, is like a thorough nasya karma, nasyam karma. What is nasya karma? Nasya karma is nasally administered Ayurvedic antidote for a soul bitten by the shtanam tad bhavavyal, by the poisonous snake of material existence. So if somebody is bitten by the poisonous snake of material existence, so they can take the nasya karma or the Ayurvedic nasal medicine of experiencing the aroma of dhupa, of incense offered to the Lord. So this is dhupa saurabhyam. Within dhupa saurabhyam also comes malya saurabhyam. Malya saurabhyam means experiencing the aroma of garlands offered to the Lord. Yatha tantre, as it is said in the tantras. Pravishte nasikarandhre harer nirmalya saurabhe sadyo vilayam ayati papa panjara bandhanam. So, pravishte nasikarandhre, when the aroma of garlands enters into the nostrils, pravishte nasikarandhre harer nirmalya saurabhe. So, when this aroma of Hari's garland enters into the nostrils, what happens? Sadyo, immediately vilayam ayati, immediately something wilts away completely. What wilts away? Papa panjara bandhanam, the cage of sinful activities of a human being immediately rusts away, wilts away into nothingness. This is the 39th limb of the 64 limbs. Another praman, Agastya Samhitayam cha, from the Agastya Samhita. Aghranam gandha pushpader architasya tapodhana vishuddhi syadanantasya ghranasye habhidhiyate. So it is said in the Agastya Samhita, O great soul, blessed with the wealth of austerity, tapodhana, the experience of the aroma, aghranam, of gandha pushpader, of incense flowers, etc., offered to the deity of the Lord, architasya, anantasya, is understood to be the cause of the complete purification, vishuddhi syat, of one's sense of smell, ghranasya iha, in this world, abhidhiyate, it is to be known. So when one experiences the fragrance of incense, flowers, etc., then one's sense of smell is purified in this world. Because otherwise in the material world there are so many fragrances, but they don't give that purificatory feeling to the heart that the incense, flowers, etc. offered to the Lord are capable of giving. Srila Jiva Goswami says, Architasya anantasya bhagavatah sambandhi yogandha pushpadis. So when Lord Ananta is worshipped, Lord Krishna is worshipped, so whatever gandha pushpadi, whatever incense or flowers, etc., tasya aghranam, experiencing its aroma, granendriyasya iha jagati vishuddhis, it is known as the purification of the sense of smelling in this world. Tad hetu syat, it is the cause of that purification. Iti abhidhiyate iti. This is the meaning of the term abhidhiyate. Now, the final limb for this presentation, Atha Shri Murtehe Sparshanam, now touching directly the deity of the Lord. Yatha Vishnu Dharmottare, as it is specified in the Vishnu Dharmottara Puran. Sprishtva Vishnu Radhishtanam Pavitra Shraddhayanvitah Papa Bandhair Vinirmuktah Sarvan Kaman Avapnuyat. Now touching the deity of the Lord, as it is said in the Vishnu Dharmottara Puran, a purified, pavitra, faithful, shraddhayanvitah person becomes free of all bonds, free from all bonds of sin, papa bandhair vinirmuktah, and attains fulfillment of all desire, sarvan kaman avapnuyat, when after having touched sprishtva Vishnur adhishtanam, a deity of Lord Vishnu, a seating place. Adhishtanam means a sitting place of Lord Vishnu, is referring to the deity of Lord Vishnu. So this is Shri Murtehe Sparshanam. Important comment by Srila Jiva Goswami. Atha Shrimad Archa Matrasya Sparsha Adhikarinam, Sparsha Mahatmya Maha. So Sparsha Adhikarinam, this verse is glorifying the touching of the deity for those who are adhikaris, that means those who are eligible through initiation into deity worship. So even if a person is born in a Brahmana family, Brahmana Kul, still a person is not considered immediately eligible for deity worship. It's only after receiving the second initiation, second birth, when one becomes a Dvija. So after becoming a Dvija, only does one get the right to worship a deity of the Lord. So adhikarinam. So this verse is for those who are adhikaris. So even if they are born in families of Brahmanas, they are not immediately adhikaris by birth. They too have to become adhikaris through initiation in their family tradition. So this is the 40th limb of the 64 limbs. Thank you very much, dear devotees. These were the first 40 limbs. In the next video, I will try to move ahead from the 41st limb and will try to cover as many limbs as possible in the next part of the presentation. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.